Hey guys, Nerf Gun Charlie here, and we're doing another video. This will be the final video when it comes to Romulan Reman testing for future tense. Go ahead and start saying this, but if you like the videos and you want to see more of them, just like I said, like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel. This is not going to be the last mod that we highlight. I'm simply highlighting this because I'm actively working on it. There are going to be some Fleet Ops mods for Armada 2, along with some old Armada 1 mods that we're going to update and bring to life in the GOG engine. So this is just the first of many. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe if you're liking what you're seeing. So right now, like I said, this is the final video we're going to do on here. I've pretty much got them in a good state for the rest of the Future Tense team. So I've got one more hero unit. They have 2 hero units already successfully added in that I did 2 days ago, and I'll be able to show those off. I've added in some more special weapons. The Remans, as we were discussing in the last video, they got new wireframes. So
my crew is ready.
Yeah, the Romulans are a little bit more artistic. I kept the Remans just basic, because the Remans would not be really concerned about that artistic flair. They're more combat oriented. So we've got them situated a good little bit. But everything is looking good. Now, one of the first things I wanted to show off that we were talking about in the last video is what's called the probe torpedo. And this is a special weapon that I have it in one of my mods that I released, although not many people have downloaded it, and it's fine. But we're going to put some shine on it here. The multi-spatial probe. It is code that is built into stock A1. And what it does is it launches a probe that scans ahead of your vessel. It fires along the just straight line forward of your route hard point on your starship, so it always fires forward. And what it does is it scans in advance of the target. And the beautiful thing about this is, with this coding that the Armada 1 devs put in, is that it will pierce fog while it's traveling through, and it will permanently remove the shroud of war from the map. So what's going to end up happening is the Romulans are going to have this, and the Remans only have this really for testing. But it's mainly going to be a Federation weapon, and I'll probably have more than one version of it. So we've got 4 of our test Reman scouts ready, and all we have to do is press it. And you'll notice on the mini-map as they fly off, you notice as they're flying, the shroud's disappearing, and it's disappearing from the mini-map. Fog is reactivating. But this is basically your way, if you're playing in a multiplayer match, you get this on Game Ranger or IPX Wrapper, and you're playing against other players, you basically can use this to scout ahead and see, okay, is my enemy in this area on one of these huge multiplayer maps? And if so, where? So I'm going to let those go over here, and then we'll come over to this area. And literally, it's just scanning ahead. These do not detect cloak, so you can't use these to pierce cloak. But like I said, it's one of those things, you're playing 1v1 against an AI, you're not sure where they're at. This is a good way to scan ahead, remove that shroud so you have a good idea of what map you're looking at, and temporary fleet movements. You get to see at least what might be going on. So, alright, and we will fire those off. Nice cluster. And as you can see, you can have them all clustered up into a huge scan burst, or you can section them out. This is kind of an expanding scan. So I can go ahead and kind of tell my AI opponent's not here, and they're not here based on the scans. And we'll fire off 4 in that direction. See if they're here. But it's a nice utility. It's just something that the Armada devs did not put into the final game. I'm assuming they didn't know how to balance it with the AI, or maybe the AI wasn't using it as intended. Because sometimes when you're creating custom special weapons in Armada, the AI doesn't know how to use it, so it crashes. So you have to make some considerations there. Yeah, the AI is not in this grouping, so they're in one of these 4 boxes. So this is just one of them. Like I said, this will be released as part of Future Tense. It's got its own class label, and it's built into stock just like the warp drive. And I believe you guys saw the warp drive working in one of the previous videos. There we go. And warp drive is its own custom class label that was in the base code. So there we go. Got a nice grouping. Right now the probes are set for a scan range of 500. And their travel distance is 30 seconds. Because their duration is determined by the line of code. How long does this last without hitting a target? And right now that's 30 seconds, so that gives us our distance. And then the scan range gives us how wide of an area they want to scan. So when this is finally fully released, if you want to change it to where it's 15 seconds and only 100 scan range, you can. Or you can have it where it's 1,000 and it lasts for 90 seconds, basically goes to the other side of the map. It'd be a little overkill, but it is what it is. The other thing, and yep, I've got it built.
What do you want?
Is a couple of things that I installed from my Legacy of the Federation mod that are now in here. They are both on the Virexis class. And this is what I'm going to leave it as, unless basically our director for Future Tense wants to change it.
What do you want?
So, for starters, we have a soliton wave generator. And it's essentially the repulsion field Klingon weapon, where it pushes targets away. However, this is coded to not do any damage, and it's coded to push friendlies. So it's essentially, you've got a heavily damaged starship, maybe it's lost its engines, or it's got a lot of gravity mines on it in combat. Then all you have to do is push it out of the way for its own safety. It's kind of saving your best starship, especially if it's a hero unit you want to save.
What is it?
You just go ahead and activate Soliton Wave and push it out of the way. It'll fly for as long as your engines disable coding in this ODF lasts. And then it'll attempt to go back to its previous location. But a lot of times you're probably tracking it, making for sure of where it's going. So that way it doesn't go where it doesn't need to or back into combat.
What is it this time?
The other thing is a gravity well generator. Now, I've done variations of this. We'll probably be able to see it in later videos when it comes to gravimetric torpedoes, because I've created those as well. This is a friend and foe weapon, so if you're not careful, this will affect your own ships as well. And that's why we have 2 ships here for cannon fodder. Essentially, this is going to act like you've created a temporary gravity well. It is going to knock out the engines of nearby vessels near the anomaly, pull them all into the center of the anomaly, and cause slow damage over time effects. And if their shields are not strong enough, it can destroy them. This is kind of a play on a different weapon we have in Future Tense called a black hole generator, which just creates a permanent map object black hole and disables nearby enemy engines for a few seconds to destroy the fleet. This is more of a control-based weapon where you probably know it's not going to destroy most of the vessels you're affecting it with, but it is crowd controlling them for a while, causing some damage over time, so that if you need to get units out of the way, you can. Or if you're basically buying yourself some time for the rest of the fleet to get there that you've sent to crush them, you're good. Literally, it's just a fast torpedo, and as you can see, brings them into a gravity well. They have light shields, so it destroys them.
Oh, goody. Oh,
But
goody.
if we're not careful, we take the Virexis in here, it will suck in the Vorexus, disables the engines, and it would have caused damage over time. So a nice little thing we created here. I won't necessarily describe the gravimetric torpedo. It uses similar coding to this that I've created, but its effects are much funnier. I'll have to install that onto one of our Federation heroes for a later video once the main beta compile is finished, and I'll show that to you guys. Suffice to say, I had a lot of fun making that. But we've got 2 heroes in. We're going to create the third one tonight after this video. First one is Admiral Tomalak, and he's got a multi-shield inversion beam, so multiple targets suck away their shields. He can project shields on multiple targets. He has tachyon pulses, and he's got a shield regeneration wave, so he's got a lot of shield tech. I kind of describe him as, from the TNG era, yes, he is a Romulan, so he's cunning, and he knows the double talk, and he likes to come from a position of power, but he also strikes me more of that slight scientist explorer, where, in just a few changes of events, and him and Picard would have been buddy-buddy kind of deal. So I wanted to be a little more shrewd with his specials. Right now he's flying into Daredecks. That will change when we get towards the end. What's currently being discussed, because I don't want Tomalak personally in a Daredecks. In the mod setting of 2409, that means he's been commanding a Daredecks since the 2360s. So I'm looking at the Kirchan. We have not added the Kirchan in yet, and I'm thinking that would be worthy of him. Give him just a big bad battleship kind of deal. He's earned it, especially since he's a veteran of the Dominion War. The other one is Sela.
Centurion report. Proceed.
Admiral Sela, and she's got a sensor shock. So when you activate that, yes, it's going to disable sensors on nearby targets, but the way we've changed the coding a little bit is when I went in to do the ODF work, the damage threshold is less than the damage base with the variance, very slightly. So what this does is it's going to do a minor amount of shield damage, but it's also going to kill off a few of the crew members on enemy vessels that are affected. It's kind of like a sonic wave with how the damage coding's been done. Then we've got the gravitic mines we talked about, but then this one I created in Legacy of the Federation. I created my own nebula, which is an ice nebula. So you're going to see when I activate it, it's going to be this light blue cloud. You can kind of see through it. I've been really messing with its transparency in Photoshop. But within the nebula, you have several, ice asteroid kind of chunks. And the whole premise of it is, as you get closer and closer to the center, you'll start feeling the effects. You'll start feeling first your engines are going offline. Then you'll start noticing that your crew is starting to die off in the extreme cold. And if you get too close to the center, your ship's engines will be frozen. You'll be frozen in place until the effects of the nebula are done. And I'm working on a timer for how long the nebula lasts. I'm thinking it's probably going to be like a 20-second weapon. But it's literally just, you get to freeze things in place. You can use this to derelict vessels. It's not meant to destroy them, but it is meant to slow them down. Let me see if I can get it activated without
I want that information, Commander.
Thinking crazy. We will zoom in. So as you can see, nebula with particle effects on the interior. Ice nebulas, it's simple, but it works. And anything within the cloud is frozen. Anything within the cloud is frozen. If you're out on the lingering effects and you don't get frozen in place, your engines will just be frozen, so they'll be offline for a few seconds afterwards. If you get, like I said, you get too close, you might get frozen in place and lose some crew. If it's a very light vessel on crew, by the end of it, the Romulans might have a new vessel for their fleet.
Full impulse power.
So we've been working on things like that. I've got Reman Telepresence, which is a play on computer override. Your computer virus, where you just take control of an enemy vessel. So we've just got a couple of things in here. We've even added attack patterns that are kind of a play on the death chant. Depending on the attack pattern, it might be a death chant that boosts your own vessel, or it might be a death chant that negatively affects your enemies. So it just depends on what the attack pattern is. But that's really all I've got. I know this is a short video, but the Romulan Reman race is in a pretty good spot. There's nothing really crazy that needs to be done, except for, like I said, I got to install the last hero tonight. And then we've got to link starships to the research pods that they need to be linked to. And it's whatever our main game director wants to do for this mod, or mod director, I should say. It's whatever he wants to do and the rest of the team wants to add in, because right now I'm just stabilizing it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Like I said at the beginning of the video, you enjoyed the video, you made it this far, please like, comment, subscribe. The next video is probably going to be in the next 2 weeks because we're going over our third race. I'm going to give myself 2 weeks to go over the Borg. And they're in an interesting state. They're going to need some work, but I think you guys are going to enjoy seeing that. So until next time, stay safe, and it's Nerf or nothing.